Guitar is a funny instrument because so many of us fall in love with its beautiful sound, including me, you, and millions of others every single year. But then we realize that it's actually a stupidly difficult instrument to play. It is. And whether you're a beginner or advanced guitarist playing classical, acoustic, flamenco, jazz, or anything in between, there are just certain mistakes almost all of us make at one point or another. I've been playing guitar for 20 years and teaching for 6 or 7 years, and trust me, I've seen things. So today I'm sharing 8 common mistakes beginner classical guitarists make, many of which I still see advanced players making too. Now, this video is part of my new free online course named Before You Start, which is a mini course I designed to give beginner classical guitarists the essential knowledge they need to take their very first few steps, including notation reading, fretboard knowledge, posture, how to choose the right guitar, and many more stuff. But if you play acoustic, fingerstyle, flamenco, or even electric, you'll still find a lot of value in today's video. I'm pretty sure of that. And if you'd like to check out the full mini course for free, it actually launches today, so just follow the link in the description. The first big mistake is that a lot of people don't change their strings regularly or often enough. And it can cause you to sound a lot more unpleasant on the classical guitar. And fresh new strings are not only a matter of sounding good, but also a matter of being able to improve more and being able to express yourself on the guitar as you want to. I think everybody should change their strings at least once a year, but preferably a little bit more often. And if you're not quite sure if it's time to change your strings or not, I think if you start to see some decolorization, like brownish or blackish colors on your strings, that's a pretty good sign that it's time to change them. A new set of string will always sound brighter, more dynamic. It's going to have a wider dynamic and a tonal range as well. While on the other hand, if a string has been used for way too long, it's always going to sound a little bit dull. The second common mistake I see is that people don't know how to take good care of their guitars, or they just simply don't care much about how they store them. And the more expensive your guitar is and the more special or rare of a wood it is made of, the more important this matter gets. What's really important is that most guitars prefer a humidity between 45 to 55%. This can differ a little bit, so you have to talk to your luthier or maker, because I can imagine if you have a guitar made of some sort of very exotic or rare guitar, it might have some special needs. But this is a good rule of thumb, so something between 45 to 55%. The right humidity level becomes especially important during the winter when the air is a lot more dry. So if you are a kind of person who takes the guitar out of the house or of your apartment regularly, it's really important not to bring the guitar back into your practice room from the outside and open the case up right away. What I personally do is that if I have to take my guitar with me outside during the winter, I come home, I put the guitar down in the hallway, somewhere where it's still colder or a little bit drier, and I leave the guitar there a little bit. And after an hour or two, I take the guitar to my practice room, and maybe that's where I'm going to open it once the guitar is a little bit warmer and has been inside for a while. This is really important because if you keep your guitar in a low humidity or dry air, it can easily just crack. But at the same time, if you store your guitar in a way too humid place for an extended amount of time, it's very likely that the action of the guitar is going to increase, and that's not fun either. The next common mistake I see beginners make is that they start to learn too difficult materials way too soon. And you could say that as a beginner, it's really, really difficult to tell if something's your level or not, if something's easy or not. And I totally get that frustration. So my advice would be to look up some graded material, like for example, the ABRSM material or Trinity College guitar syllabus, something that has a graded syllabus, and you can easily just pick out one or two pieces from it and see if it's your level or not. So let's say you imagine that you are at grade 2 or grade 3 level. You can easily check if it's true or not by just looking up some graded material and try to play it for yourself. My point is, look up graded syllabus made by guitar schools, guitar colleges, or some kind of institute that knows what they're talking about, like ABRSM exam materials, and see how your skills relate to those materials. Another common mistake is not sitting properly or like neglecting to learn the proper posture, and it's always going to end up badly because over time it's going to cause you not only fatigue, but also it can cause all sorts of injuries and all sorts of different kinds of pain in your body. So, for example, what I see very, very often is a rotated torso. When people want to rotate their torso to see the neck of the guitar better, and it's going to stress your lower back and your whole spine so much. Another common thing is when people lean forward a lot like this so they can see their right hand better, but that puts lots of stress on your neck. That's not good either. Another thing I see very often is that people just drop the guitar really low into awkward angles. They don't have it aligned with their body. They don't have this center line, which I was talking about in one of the previous lessons. So they just hold the guitar very randomly. But then it becomes really difficult for them to play in a higher position with their left hand. So they all have to make all sorts of awkward alterations in their technique. So for example, they drop their shoulders or the left shoulder to have a better access with the left hand, and they have this very non-symmetrical position at this point. It's going to stress not only the shoulders but the lower back as well, but they still don't have a very good access with the left hand, so they come up with awkward wrist and left hand positions, which is going to stress this area of the hand, obviously. So this is a common problem I see, and it's definitely not a win. That this is not good for you in the long term either. I know it might take a while to get used to or to find the most comfortable classical guitar position for you. It takes some time for everybody. Just know that it's worth it. It's worth it in the long run. And maybe you don't see a huge difference in your everyday practice, in your day-to-day routine, but you're going to thank yourself later, years later, if you learn to sit well now. Another very common mistake is that people think they need a lot more power or like effort and strength for playing classical guitar than they actually do. And this applies to both hands, but I see it happening in the left hand or fretting hand way more often than in the right hand. So a lot of people think that they need to press really, really hard with these fingers in order to keep the strings down clearly. But rather than using strength, it's more important to use accuracy. Because if you press the strings at the right position, meaning right next to the fret, like this, like what I'm doing right now, you don't have to apply a lot of stress or a lot of tension to the strings to make it sound clean. I'm actually barely pressing now. And a really easy way to see if you're one of these people, if you're making this mistake or not, is to pick a chord, choose any chord, or it can be a piece that you're actually practicing right now. It doesn't really matter. What matters is play something like a chord, and then see if you start releasing the tension, if you start pressing a little bit less hard, see if the guitar still sounds clearly. Okay, so for example, now I'm pressing really, really hard, and now I will release the pressure a little bit. And let me try again. It still sounds good. Okay, let me reduce the tension even more. See, this is the indicator that I'm using too little pressure right now. So the only thing I have to do is to apply a teeny tiny bit more pressure back. And this is the right amount. This is the perfect amount of tension or pressure for making this chord sound good on this guitar for me. And with this very simple little silly test, people very often find out that they use a lot more strength and they don't even know about it. So yeah, try this and see it for yourself. The next common mistake is going to sound maybe a little bit controversial, but I still believe that it is a mistake if you're not learning to read standard notation or to read sheet music. Because here's the thing, as you progress on the guitar and you reach maybe grade 5 or 6, it will start to become really, really difficult to find music transcribed into tabs. You're going to find these pieces available mostly in sheet music, so you need to be able to read them. Tabs are great if you want to just get started with guitar quickly, because it's going to tell you which strings you have to play and which positions you have to fret. It's very easy. But sheet music will provide you with so much additional extra valuable information that you don't even know yet that you're going to need. It takes a couple of years to learn to appreciate all these extra information, but trust me, you're going to be able to progress a lot better if you know how to read sheet music rather than just depending on tabs. It's kind of like if the sheet music was the rule book for a very complex board game, while on the other hand, tablatures are kind of like the little reference cards where they have the rules just briefly summarized. Common mistake number 7 is that beginners often ignore practicing slowly, or they are more like practicing fast all the time. And it's really, really funny because a lot of the times I work with beginners or early intermediate level students at my private lessons. And sometimes I tell them to play this part, play the problematic part slowly. And the tempo they choose, the tempo they think is slow, is actually pretty fast. It's something that I wouldn't choose as a professional for practice speed. I think beginners have this feeling that they are behind. They want to improve as quickly as they possibly can. So therefore they have this impatience in them, and that's what makes them hurry with the pieces and with the practice all the time. So if you have absolutely no idea what slow practice tempo you should choose when you're working on a difficult piece, here's an easy way to tell. I always ask myself, what's the tempo in which I can control my movements and play this part accurately? That's all I'm asking myself. And I love this framework so much because it gives me the flexibility to change my slow practice speed from practice session to practice session. Because maybe today I have a problematic part in a piece I'm working on. And if I ask myself what's the slowest or what's the tempo that I can control my movements in, I'm going to choose 60 BPM today. But 2 days later or 3 days later, when I ask myself the same question, maybe I will find that actually I can go a bit higher and I can increase the speed to 65 or 68 beats per minute. This framework gives me the flexibility to evaluate my level every single day. And here's another thought to consider. If you're playing really, really fast all the time, you're going to make all sorts of different mistakes. And if you're making these all sorts of different mistakes, you're actually practicing them. They are not going to disappear. So the more mistakes you make, the more different versions you're learning. You see what I'm getting at? But if you keep playing the same part well, if you repeat it well and correctly over and over, your nervous system, your body is going to learn the correct way. So if you just reduce the tempo, if you just start slowly and gradually build up your speed, your body will get used to the right movements more efficiently. And the final mistake I see beginners make way too often is that they don't listen to their own playing, which is kind of funny. But I also get it on some level, because when you're just getting started with an instrument, you're just so busy with the technical elements, with all these new movements your hands have to make, especially on guitar, because your two hands are doing completely different stuff. So I get that people get overwhelmed and busy with the physical and tactile elements of playing. However, a lot of mistakes and a lot of little things can be simply solved or simply overcome by just listening to how you sound. Because a lot of the times, if you're doing something wrong on the guitar, it will sound wrong too. And it's just so much easier to pick out when something's wrong if you're just listening to it. Many other things can be revealed by active listening as well. So if your music is maybe a little bit too flat, uninteresting, if you start paying attention to how you sound, you will figure it out, you will find that, and you will start asking yourself, how can I make myself sound more interesting? And you're going to naturally start exploring different dynamic and tonal changes on the instrument. But if you never listen to how you sound, you will never realize that, oh, maybe I need to explore a more mellow tone or something sharper. You're never going to get to those discoveries if you never listen to how you sound. Okay, so these are just some of the most common mistakes beginner classical guitarists make, but honestly, there are plenty more. So I want to try something special today. If you are a beginner watching this, drop a question in the comments. And if you are a more experienced player, pick one and answer it. And of course, more experienced players can ask questions too. I hope you get the point. The idea is to create a space in the comments where what we've learned so far can help someone just a few steps behind us on the same journey. Yeah, let's try and see how it works out. Now, if you want to learn how to read sheet music and understand the fretboard and how to take care of your guitar, if you want to learn about the basic postures and hand positions and how to change strings and many, many more stuff, check out my brand new mini course that's launching today. This is a beginner course, so no previous experience is needed, but it's also great if you're coming from other styles, or if you just want to test your knowledge. And if you like what I'm doing and think I'm crazy and financially responsible for making all this stuff for free, please go ahead and support my work on Patreon, because, well, I actually am. Alright, talk soon in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.